Welcome to the Unedited Show, the podcast where unfiltered thoughts and unscripted conversations reign supreme. I'm your host, Gonçalo Salado, and I'm excited to share my knowledge and insights with you on this journey of self-improvement. In this podcast, I don't hold back. I don't edit anything, I simply speak from the heart and share my thoughts on anything that can help you improve your life. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the Unedited Show. Welcome to the Unedited Show. I hope you enjoyed that intro, the new intro that I made. It's whether it's you're watching on YouTube or listening on any podcast platform. So I made this new intro just to promote a little bit about the podcast, and maybe it's a little bit too long. I have to maybe make it short. But it's a new thing that I did, and today we are talking about how big can you think of growing. And what I mean by this is sometimes people might have too big of goals, or maybe they think, I want to earn 1 million subscribers. I want to earn $1 million. I want to sell 1 million copies of my book. I want to, whatever it is, you might think, okay, this is the dream goal or something. But actually, these dream goals, what I've seen in, even when I was living in the United States, people are so much more optimistic. Of course, the country is different. The people buy more. People probably watch more YouTube, watch more content, even for podcasts. Now I've been listening to a bunch of podcasts, and in content, I find that there are more opportunities and more interesting podcasts in the United States that probably any other place. But that's because consumption of podcasts might be bigger over there, or even my own podcast, as this podcast, my audience is mostly in the United States, and I haven't done any sponsored and haven't done anything. It's just probably the platform already is pushing the podcast through the American audience. If I look into my YouTube numbers, because I do have 2,000 and something subscribers, usually I don't have as much from the United States, but there's a lot of people that already have been subscribers from when I was making content in Portuguese. So it's kind of a difference. But the point that I'm going to speak is about how people are so much more optimistic in the United States. And I believe there's a reason for that. It's just because the country is much bigger, the opportunities are much wider. And in Portugal, it's only 10 million people. People are very pessimistic. They all think that, never, nothing ever happens to them. It's always bad, and it's going to be bad all the time and everything. But nowadays, with global economy, and I've seen that people are growing so much more once they step outside their own country. And for example, even for me, once I started to create more content in English instead of Portuguese, the opportunities got much bigger. And my YouTube channel hasn't grown that much because I haven't actually made too many YouTube videos, and in the past months I've only been doing this podcast. But for example, I started doing Fiverr and teaching the courses, teaching DaVinci, teaching Final Cut, all that stuff. I have been teaching in Fiverr, and I've been teaching a lot to a lot of countries, not only United States, also Canada. I've taught in Europe, even in I had this guy who's living in Thailand. So the opportunities as you go global are much wider. So your optimism kind of grows also. Because if you think about, and this is a question of numbers, in the United States there's around 300 million people. In Portugal there's only 10 million, and probably in the United States the ability to purchase or to buy stuff, or even the way that people perceive with consumption is way bigger than in Portugal. Portugal wages are very low. The average income is low. So the thing is, it might be because of that. Of course, that's a big influence on that, but it's also numbers. If you're thinking about making a cool T-shirt and you sell it only to the Portuguese audience, you might sell it like 10,000 T-shirts. But because of the proportion of, for example, the United States, if you sell it in the United States, you might sell it to 100,000 people or even a million. And the thing is, your profit is going to be much higher, and your audience much be higher, and whatever you do, because there's more people and you get more. But nowadays, and even after we all been at home, things started to get more globally. And for me, I have been teaching since 2003, and I have been teaching so much online now because it's more affordable to someone in the other country. I make more money actually than I make here in Portugal, and it's a win-win situation. So that person doesn't pay as much, I gain more from my time, and actually I get to a lot more people. Because the thing is, if I'm only working within the Portuguese community, there's, and even teaching at schools like I have been teaching, most of people, I live near the capital of Portugal, so I would teach in a school. Even people that lived like 100 kilometers away would have to come to the school, or else they wouldn't have the course over there. And nowadays, even with the school that I work the most of the time, people are from anywhere in the country. They all remote. They learn the same way that they would learn if they were in class. So I can have bigger classes with more students. I can earn more money because I have more students, so that way classes are bigger, I can have more classes, whatever it is. But if I make it global, like I've been doing and with the teaching in English, I've seen so much of a big difference. So when I'm thinking about getting to like a really big number, the thing is, of course, I can only sell my time. Well, I could sell my time with a really high hour rate, but that's only if I'm really well-known guy, or if I'm famous. If I have like 10 million subscribers, I probably could charge a lot per hour. But I'll get to a point where, and most rich people do that, they don't exchange time for money. And I've been hearing this a lot. So the only way you can get really rich if you don't exchange your time for money. But still, I'm here talking about the opportunity and the numbers. And the numbers are, even if I'm teaching, I might not be teaching from in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. Those classes, even in Portugal, because the people that want to make videos in a 10 million people country, there might be a lot, but there are more schools, or might be some other. Well, there's not a lot of schools, but couple of schools, and you kind of competing for that place with those people. So if you're talking globally, there's so many people nowadays working in video, working in creating content, and those are my students. Those are the people that I usually teach. And getting into global, I can actually get to a point where I can book, let's say, 8 hours a day. And if I make, let's say, globally, I'll make $50 per hour. And if I make $50 an hour, and if I work a regular job of 40 hours a week, and if I get that, that's $2,000 a week. Okay, so that's a lot. Okay, for Portugal, that's a lot. Man, usually, unless you're doing, I don't know, there's people, of course, there's people here in Portugal that earn that kind of money, but that will be a lot. And if I make it to 100, let's say I'll make 100 an hour, because I'm now a very well-known guy or whatever, and I'm still exchanging time for money. I could make it, even if I make it 100, okay, that's 40 hours a week, that's $4,000 a week, that's 16 grand a month. So that's over $100,000 a year. So that's a lot for Portuguese. And even for the United States, for some people making 100 and, I don't know, 50, that will be around 150,000 a year. That will be a lot for some people. But the thing is, let's say I could make the same 50, but instead of working 40 hours a week, I could work 24 hours a day. And that's, well, I would make a lot of money. And the scaling of these opportunities that have been showing up, and with people not exchanging time for money and what that, but the courses, even if I have 3 courses I'm selling on the platform. I do sell them directly, but I'm using this courses platform for now. But even if I get to sell it, like even 1 course per hour, and if I sell 24 courses, and each course would cost $50, and I would sell 24 courses a day, that will make me so much more money. So, of course, I don't, as a teacher in teaching software and everything, I don't think that pre-recorded courses have the same impact as live training. I do believe live training can be much more helpful, because you interact live with that person, and that person might have a question in that moment, that, or didn't understand something, or something like that, that if you didn't answer it at the moment, the perception and the learning curve might be like not the same, and it's a little more boring to watch course videos. You have to really be open to perceive it and to learn with it. So I still believe live training is much better, but you can actually scale your work, if you think globally, to another level that you usually can't. So even if you're if you are changing time for money, and if you get really high on the hourly rate, then you'll get you get the spectrum of people, it's much lower, because then not everybody can afford like to pay you. Let's say you get to $1,000 an hour. That's a lot. So people might not be able to pay that. So, but people might be able to pay $20 for your course. And if you're selling the course, and I've seen people doing these funnels and everything that are helpful, and I've talked about it, and I really believe if you're selling somewhat of a skill, it's okay. But if the thing that you're selling is the thing that it's making you money, that it's nothing, it's just like a pyramid scheme. you you tell people how to make money by selling courses about how to people to make money, then it's like a loophole that, okay, that's not the point. People are not learning a specific skill. They learn the skills of making funnels, they learn somewhat of skills, but they're not learning a skill like editing video or creating content in a specific way or whatever it is, or whatever, cooking, whatever it is. So I do believe that if you're doing something like that, you need to provide value. And what I've seen from most courses that are like that, there's a very good example in this area that I work in, videography, that it's the full-time filmmaker. Some people would call it a scam, some people would call it a bunch of things, but I do believe he brought so much value to the course with everything that it's inside. It's skills. He's teaching skills, and you might think that, oh, it's no, because I didn't get the skills as much. If you do the things that he talks about, I haven't done the course, I know about it, I know what's the content in it, but I really do believe that that kind of courses, and he's telling how he scaled his business to, I don't know, I think it was 7 million a year by having that course. So it's possible for anyone who has the skills, and I believe there's a lot of people with a lot of skills they can like put into action, like make a course, or even if you're not making a course, teach people online. Use a platform like Fiverr or Upwork to teach skills that you have, even if it's carpentry or even if it's anything that you have a skill set on that you might sell. And if you're selling it globally, you can actually scale it to a level that usually, even if you're from a small country like I am, you can make it really, really big. So you can take it to numbers that are not usually to most people within your country or within your surroundings. So don't be afraid to aim high. If you have the skills, or even if you don't have, but you would go and get them. Think about this: there's like 7 billion people in the world. There might be just 500,000 people that are into your content, and if that 500,000 people pay you only $10, that's $5 million, and that will set you up for life, and probably for your uh, wife and your kids. And if you manage it properly, once you have the 5 million, you can do a lot with 5 million wherever you are. Even if you're in the United States, it's probably more expensive than here. Well, here it's getting more expensive than anywhere in the world, but this is Lisbon, it's getting really high, but still, that will get you really, really far. And if you get like, even if you get 50,000 people, but the same, instead of $10 course, $100 course, that's still 5 million. So, yep, it's all about numbers, and you can scale it really high, really fast. That's about it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.